Hare Krishna, everyone. We welcome you all to our virtual Sunday program. As we get closer to the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadeva, which is on 25th Tuesday, today we have a very special guest to discuss or get us into the mood for the appearance of Lord Nrsimhadeva. And we have a very special guest, His Holiness Bhakti Caitanya Maharaj. Maharaj is has been the GBC chairman and also part of the executive committee. And we are very honored to have his presence today, all the way from South Africa. And before we get started, I'll just quickly run through the schedule. So we have Kirtan now. We'll have Maharaj starting class in about 25 minutes, half an hour ish. Then we'll have question answer sessions, announcements, and we'll close with Nrsimha prayers. We have some important announcements, so please stay tuned to the end. And this is today's Deity Darshan. And now we will move on to Kirtan. Today we have some special devotees from Mississippi. We have Padma Lochani Mataji, we have Nimai Nitai Prabhu, Abhimanyu Prabhu, and Kamala Sundari Mataji. So I will hand it over to them and they can get started. Hare Krishna.
You guys need to unmute yourself, guys. Sorry.
Hare Krishna.
All right, go ahead, Haribol.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, everyone. Haribol. Hare Krishna, everyone. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Caitanya Swami Niti Namani Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimati Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namani Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Shri Vishishta Shunyavadi Prachitadishacharine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasati Gauri Bhakti Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare Rama Hare Rama Hare Rama Rama Hare Jai. Shri Radha ki Jai. Shri Radha ki Jai. Shri Gaur Nitai ki Jai. Nishingadeva Bhakti Maharaj ki Jai. Jagat Guru Shila Prabhupada ji ki Jai. Nitai Guru Premanande Hari Bol. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Nimanitai Prabhu and Padmalochani Mataji and all the devotees at Mississippi. Thank you so much for doing Kirtan. It was nice having you. We look forward to having you again.
Thank you.
Hare
Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I see His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Maharaj has joined the call. So without any further delay, I want to just have our congregation director, His Grace Adigadar Prabhu, just introduce him, and we'll soon hear from Maharaj right away. Adigadar Prabhu, over to you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. On behalf of ISKCON of Atlanta, I would like to extend a very, very warm welcome to His Holiness Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj. Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai. Maharaj, we are extremely grateful to you for giving us your very valuable association and for my purification and for the benefit of all the devotees who have joined. I would like to give a brief introduction. Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj is originally from New Zealand and he studied philosophy there, and he met Srila Prabhupada on campus. And the next year in 1973 in London, Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj received initiation from Srila Prabhupada. And since then, Maharaj has been serving Srila Prabhupada's mission with full dedication. He has been a very avid book distributor. He has served as a temple president. He has done fundraising for the building of the Temple of Understanding in Durban, and he has rendered invaluable services in South Africa. Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj has served as a governing body commissioner, the member of the GBC, which is the highest managerial body for the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, since 1998. For the last 23 years, he's been serving. Several times he has served as the chairman of the GBC as well as vice chairman. And Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj also heads the GBC strategic planning team. And Srila Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj is loved all over the world because of his wonderful parikramas of Shri Vrindavan Dham. And I'm especially a fan of his book on Govardhan. It is such a beautiful book with beautiful pictures and stories related to Shri Giriraj Govardhan. So we are very grateful to you, Maharaj, for your years and years, decades and decades of invaluable service. Maharaj is also has been serving as an initiating spiritual master. So Maharaj, we are very eager to hear Krishna Katha from you. And thank you very much. Hare Krishna. His Holiness Bhakti Chaitanya Swami Maharaj ki jai.
Thank you very much, Prabhu. Very kind of you. Let me just ask one question. How much time do we have?
Maharaj, you can go an hour, and it depends on how much time we have. Usually we go an hour and then we have question and answer sessions, but
Okay.
It depends on you.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you all very much. And I thought I detected Padmalochani Devi Dasi there in the temple room. I think I saw her. Disciple of mine from South Africa. But anyway, thank you very much for the invitation, devotees. Thank you, Kartik Kripa Prabhu, who's organized all of this. And I understand that you've been doing readings and classes the last few nights or days or nights regarding this appearance of Lord Nishingadeva. And Kartik Kripa Prabhu told me that I should speak about the actual appearance of Lord Nishingadeva when he actually came out from the pillar. and yeah, related things. So if that's okay with all of you, then let us begin. Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Presta Bhutale Shrimati Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Prachane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pastyata Deshtarne Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadha Shivas Adi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vanchkalptarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya evacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Nrsimhadeva Bhagavan ki jai, Sri Prahlad Maharaj ki jai. Go Premanande. So yes, again, thank you very much, devotees. I've been to Atlanta once. I stayed a few days in 1978. Maybe not so many of you were around there at that time, but I did stay over for a tour, maybe 3 days. I came over from London, and then I went back to London doing some BBT things. So I remember the temple. I assume it's the same building. There was a couple of buildings, I think, kind of close next to each other. And it was nice. It was really nice. I really enjoyed my stay there. Okay, so I understand that your program, I guess, yesterday was about Prahlad Maharaj, his childhood, like that. So I'll go on from that point. That's okay, is it? Adi Gadadha or ISKCON Atlanta, Prabhu?
It was actually the week before. So we've been doing these topics on Sundays, Maharaj.
So this sounds okay, does it?
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah.
Because, I can do whatever.
Yeah. Yes, Maharaj. You can continue from wherever Karthik Kripa Prabhu had mentioned to you. Yeah.
Okay. Right. So, Prahlad Maharaj, he was in school and he started preaching, and before anyone knew what was going on, many of the young school boys who were the sons of the main demons in the universe. So, these are children from the most important demoniac families in the universe. Many of them were becoming devotees, and they're just really getting into it due to the potency of Prahlad Maharaj, who, even though he was only 5, but he had so much Shakti. He had so much power spiritually. So then I'm going to read a verse. Let me just read a verse here to begin. It's the 7th canto, chapter 8, verse 2. And it just sets the scene, I would say. Atacharya sutastesham buddham ekanta samstitam alakshya bitas twarito Ragya ave dayad gata. When Shanda and Amarka, the sons of Shukracharya, observed that all the students, the sons of the demons, were becoming advanced in Krishna consciousness because of the association of Prahlad Maharaj, they were afraid. They approached the king of the demons and described the situation as it was. Yeah. So there's a short purport here by Srila Prabhupada. Let me just read it. It's only, looks like 3 sentences. The words Buddhame Kanta Samstitam indicate that as an effect of Prahlad Maharaj's preaching, the students who listened to him became fixed in the conclusion that Krishna consciousness is the only object of human life. The fact is that anyone who associates with a pure devotee and follows his instructions becomes fixed in Krishna consciousness and is not disturbed by materialistic consciousness. The teachers particularly observed this in their students, and therefore they were afraid because the whole community of students was gradually becoming Krishna conscious. So yeah, this was going on like that. And the teachers, Shanda and Amarka, they're the sons of Shukracharya, who's the guru or the priest really, of all the big demons. They were getting into anxiety because the students were becoming devotees. Can you imagine? What a situation. It's just completely, from their point of views, Shanda and Amarka, it's completely unbelievable, completely incredible. They're meant to be the top demons, but they're becoming devotees. Yeah. So then they went to Hiranyakashipu. They went to Hiranyakashipu, and in order to protect themselves, they explained to Hiranyakashipu the situation. So Hiranyakashipu called in Prahlad. It's around this time that Hiranyakashipu tried to have Prahlad killed in different ways. He tried to have him thrown into a pit of snakes, poisonous snakes, but those snakes became very peaceful and sort of pleasant, friendly with Prahlad Maharaj. And Hiranyakashipu just could not believe this. Then he got some of his demoniac soldiers to try to kill Prahlad with swords and spears and weapons like that. And he had Prahlad thrown off a cliff, but the Lord caught Prahlad just as Prahlad was coming into land. And Hiranyakashipu's looking over the cliff to see to see what's happened. And then Prahlad Maharaj comes climbing up. And Prahlad, you know, he's an innocent 5-year-old child. Prahlad, he comes up back on top of the cliff. Hiranyakashipu's looking over, hoping to see a dead body. And Prahlad comes back up over the top. And Prahlad says, Pita, Papa, I like this flying game. This flying game is great. Let's do it again. So Hiranyakashipu is just completely, he's in shock. He doesn't know what's going on at all. And finally, Hiranyakashipu, at least in that kind of sequence of activities, Hiranyakashipu, he cooked some food, and he put in it enough poison to kill 100 elephants. And he gave it to Prahlad and told Prahlad, here, I made this for you, please eat it. So Prahlad took it, he offered it to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he started eating. And, you know, there's so much poison in there, it's just crazy. And Hiranyakashipu is watching. And he's asked, because he's expecting that Prahlad will just fall over dead from this huge amount of poison. But Prahlad is just eating away. And Hiranyakashipu is asking him, how do you feel? And Prahlad saying, oh, nice prasad, really nice prasad. And again, Hiranyakashipu can't believe it. And he can't understand. How is this possible? It's completely impossible. Totally impossible. So he asked Prahlad, where do you get your power from? How is it that you can withstand all these things? Please tell me. You know, just before that, just after all these different incidents where these attempts were made to kill Prahlad, one Prabhupada describes that one devotee who was somehow there in the palace around there where Prahlad was staying, one devotee approached Prahlad and apologized to Prahlad and told Prahlad that, you know, I'm just so sorry. Your father's doing all these horrible things. Your father's trying to kill you. I'm just so sorry, but there's nothing I can do. If there was something I could do, I would try and save you. But if I do anything, Hiranyakashipu will just kill me, just immediately. So there's nothing I can do to help. But I'd just like you to know that I'm really sorry that your father is treating you in such horrible ways. And Prabhupada says that Prahlad Maharaj replied to that devotee. And Prahlad said, no. He's not trying to kill me. Prahlad said, he's my father. He's playing with me. So the thing is that Prahlad was protected so much by the Lord that he wasn't even aware that his life was in danger. He thought his father was just playing games, as parents do with their children. So it's very amazing, the consciousness that Prahlad was in, highly elevated, pure Krishna consciousness, and able to explain Krishna consciousness so brilliantly to the other school children, school boys. But he was just an innocent little child. So finally, like I said, we are in the 8th chapter of the 7th canto. So Prahlad has been brought in. Prahlad's been brought in to Hiranyakashipu, and Hiranyakashipu has decided that he will kill him himself. He's not going to leave it up to anyone else. Like those other, there was some warriors. They were meant to kill Prahlad with their swords and spears. But when they tried to attack Prahlad, all their weapons, they became like really cheap child's plastic weapons, which just bend very easily, and they're just really cheap children's toys. So Hiranyakashipu now, he decides that he is going to kill Prahlad himself. So, but before he does that, there's a little conversation as described here in this 8th chapter of the 7th canto. There's a little conversation between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. And first of all, Hiranyakashipu chastises Prahlad, really in a nasty way. And he asks Prahlad, well, he says in verse 6, 7th canto, chapter 8, verse 6, Hiranyakashipu says, my son Prahlad, you rascal, you know that when I'm angry, all the planets of the 3 worlds tremble, along with their chief rulers. By whose power has a rascal like you become so impudent that you appear fearless and overstep my power to rule you? So this is real confrontation now. Confrontation between Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad. And then, so now Prahlad answers. And his answer, it goes on for about, 5 or 6 verses. So it's a bit too long for me to read the whole thing. But let me just read a little bit. This is verse 9. Let's just say verse 9. Well, in verse 8, Prahlad tells Hiranyakashipu, I get my power from the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he sort of starts preaching in verse 9. My dear father, please give up your demoniac mentality. Do not discriminate in your heart between enemies and friends. Make your mind equipoised toward everyone. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there is no enemy within this world. That's an interesting point, isn't it? That's a really interesting point. Except for the uncontrolled and misguided mind, there's no enemy within this world. When one sees everyone on the platform of equality, one then comes to the position of worshiping the Lord perfectly. And verse 10 is a really good one. This is Prahlad speaking to Hiranyakashipu. Okay. In former times, this is verse 10. In former times, there were many fools like you who did not conquer the 6 enemies that steal away the wealth of the body. These fools were very proud, thinking, I've conquered all enemies in all the 10 directions. But if a person is victorious over the 6 enemies and is equipoised toward all living entities, for him there are no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined by one in ignorance. The 6 enemies are the senses and the mind. And Prahlad's basically made this point in the other verse we just read, that if a person is victorious over the senses and the mind and is equipoised toward all living entities, that person has no enemies. Enemies are merely imagined. So Prahlad, he's a 5-year-old child, but he's preaching. It's just outstanding. It's just outstanding. So anyway, Hiranyakashipu, obviously doesn't appreciate this at all. He's in a sort of berserk state of mind, completely lost it altogether. And so he's now coming to the point where he wants to kill Prahlad. But before he does that, in verse 12, I don't think you need to put the verse up, or you can, whatever you like. But in verse 12, Hiranyakashipu asks Prahlad, you have always described a supreme being other than me, who's above everything, who's the controller of everyone, and is all-pervading. But where is he? If he's everywhere, then why is he not present before me in this pillar? So, Srila Prabhupada elsewhere gives a little description of this particular incident, that Prahlad has preached to Hiranyakashipu and called him a fool, and explained how there are no enemies. Hiranyakashipu is just going berserk. And then Hiranyakashipu asks, as we read, he asks, where is this God of yours? And Prabhupada, elsewhere, Prabhupada describes that Prahlad Maharaj was seeing Krishna everywhere. Wherever he looked, he'd just look around, he'd see the Lord. There's an interesting little story I can tell you about Prabhupada in this regard. When Prabhupada visited England, it was, what was it? It was, I think, 1972. And Prabhupada was staying in our temple in Edinburgh. And they did one day they did a program in Glasgow, which is it's a fairly big city, maybe an hour or so drive from Edinburgh. And then at the end, they came back to the temple in Edinburgh, and Prabhupada was in his room, and some devotees were in the room with Prabhupada. And this was the day, anyway, I won't go into too much detail, but Prabhupada had really had an incredible program in Glasgow, completely amazing. And there are maybe 400 or 500 just ordinary Scottish people there. And Prabhupada got a standing ovation. It was a really amazing program. So they all went back to the temple after the program, and Prabhupada's in his room with some of the devotees. And one of the devotees, Prabhupada quotes the Brahma Samhita verse, Premanjana Charita Bhakti Valochanena, Santa Sadaiva Hridayeshu Valokayanti, that the devotee whose eyes have been treated with the ointment of love, of prema, that devotee can see Krishna Hridayanti, within the heart. So Prabhupada quoted that verse, and one of the devotees said to Prabhupada that, this is a very amazing vision of the devotee, the pure devotee. And Prabhupada said, yes, yes. And Prabhupada looked around the room. Like you can see, I'm looking around the room. Prabhupada looked around the room and said, yes, the pure devotee can see Krishna everywhere. And the devotees who were there, they told us, I wasn't there, but they told us they got this very distinct feeling that Prabhupada was seeing Krishna everywhere as he was looking around. So anyway, Prabhupada, I was saying Prabhupada's giving a description about this, of Hiranyakashipu asking, where is this God of yours? And Prahlad, as the innocent boy, he just looks around and says, my father, he's everywhere. Because Prahlad is seeing him, actually seeing him everywhere. And as an innocent child, Prahlad is thinking that everyone is seeing things the way he is seeing things. In other words, Prahlad thinks that everyone is seeing Krishna everywhere. And Prabhupada says that Prahlad was thinking, why does he keep on asking me, where is God? Can't he see him? What's wrong with him? And Prahlad thought, maybe he needs glasses. So there's that situation, and Prahlad is looking around and saying, well, he's everywhere. And so Hiranyakashipu says, all right, if he's everywhere, is he in that pillar over there? And Prabhupada describes elsewhere that Prahlad looks at the pillar and he sees the Lord in the pillar. And he turns to his father and in a straightforward way, He says, yes, yes, he's in the pillar. And he's feeling puzzled. Why does he keep asking me? Yeah, he's in the pillar. So then, Hiranyakashipu got up from his throne, picked up his sword, and then in this state of like completely ferocious anger, totally ferocious anger, with his fist, he struck the pillar with his fist. Now, he must have had a very strong fist. Wow. And of course, he was very strong. Hiranyakashipu, he was like just unbelievably strong. Yeah. So he struck the pillar with his fist, and then the pillar shattered. But before it just shattered and sort of fell to pieces, from the pillar came this incredible, it's sort of like a shrieking sound, like a high-pitched sound. And it was so powerful and just so devastating that the sound, it seemed it was going to crack the coverings of the universe. And it reached the heavenly planets. It just spread all over the universe. The sound, screeching, terrifying sound. And even the demigods heard it. And the demigods thought, this is it. It's the end. It's the end of the universe. So then, devotees, Hiranyakashipu, he's looking around, trying to understand where's the sound coming from. They couldn't really tell where the sound's coming from. And then Lord Nrsimhadeva appeared from the pillar which was already cracked and shattered. The Lord burst out of the pillar, and the rest of the pillar just was scattered all over, smashed and scattered all over. So yeah, unbelievable. It's Lord Nrsimhadeva, and Hiranyakashipu sees Lord Nrsimhadeva, and he's never seen before, and no one has seen before, a living entity like Lord Nishingadeva, half man and half lion. It's just, there is no such thing. There is no such thing normally within any universe. And this massive, gigantic figure with 10 arms. When Lord Nishingadeva appeared, he appeared with 10 arms. So Hiranyakashipu is just astonished, completely amazed. What is this creature which is half man and half lion? And the Bhagavatam describes, let me just read this couple of verses here. What's it? It's 19 to 22. Hiranyakashipu studied the form of the Lord, trying to decide who the form of Nishingadeva standing before him was. The Lord's form was extremely fearsome because of his angry eyes, which resembled molten gold, his shining mane, which expanded the dimensions of his fearful face, his deadly teeth, and his razor-sharp tongue, which moved about like a dueling sword. His ears were erect and motionless, and his nostrils and gaping mouth appeared like caves of a mountain. His jaws parted fearfully, and his entire body touched the sky. His neck was very short and thick, his chest broad, his waist thin, and the hairs on his body as white as the rays of the moon. His arms, which resembled flanks of soldiers, spread in all directions as he killed the demons, rogues, and atheists with his conch shell, disc, club, lotus, and other natural weapons. You know, just one interesting little point in regards to that description. The hairs on his body were as white as the rays of the moon. In other words, it seems Lord Nishingadeva is basically white. Yeah, that's at least according to that statement there. Yes, so most amazing sight. And we understand that Lord Nishingadeva, of course, he's a form of Krishna, obviously. In fact, Srila Rupa Goswami in Laghu Bhagavatamrita, Laghu Bhagavat, not the Brihad Bhagavatamrita, which the BBT has published, but Laghu Bhagavatamrita. There, Srila Rupa Goswami describes that there are three main forms of the Lord. First is Krishna, second is Lord Ramachandra, and third is Lord Nrsimhadeva. These are the three main forms of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So there's Lord Nishingadeva. He's one of them. So Lord Nishingadeva, if we want to understand what is Lord Nishingadeva, well, he's an incarnation of Krishna, but it's not, just that simple. Lord Nrsimhadeva is a manifestation of Krishna in the mood of protecting his devotee from danger, particularly in one sense, particularly saving his devotee from attack by demons. This is Lord Nishingadeva. And as such, Lord Nrsimhadeva is particularly a manifestation of the anger of Lord Krishna. Lord Krishna is the supreme everything, the supreme beautiful, supreme powerful, supreme knowledgeable, etc., etc. You know the six main opulences. But he's also the supreme angry. He has the supreme anger. And when does Krishna show his anger? To the ultimate degree, like to the complete degree, complete anger. Krishna manifests his complete anger when his devotee is being attacked by some demon. Yes. So, he, so of course, because he's a form of the Lord, he possesses the other potencies, but he doesn't show them. Basically, he only shows anger. And basically, in terms of pastimes, of what he actually does, basically, he only protects his devotees. Of course, you get Lakshmi Nishinga, and when this whole pastime finishes, Lakshmi Devi does approach Lord Nishingadeva. And of course, there are deities, I'm sure you've seen, and pictures of Lord Nishingadeva sitting with Lakshmi on his lap. But this is not really typical Nishingadeva. This is simply after he has protected his devotee, after he's saved his devotee from the demons by exhibiting his anger, then briefly he shows this more gentle aspect. But it's not really typical. It's the Lord feeling satisfied, having protected the devotee and having destroyed the demon. But really what Lord Nrsimhadeva is, he's a manifestation of Krishna's anger. Or not a manifestation of, but he is Krishna who is manifesting particularly his anger out of love for his devotee. That's Nrsimhadeva. And so you don't hear of Nishingadeva doing anything else, really. Not really. We don't hear of Nrsimhadeva doing a rasa dance, for example, or something like that. We only hear the classic Nishingadeva is anger when his devotee is in danger. So, yeah, and when he gets angry like that, well, I don't know if we'll get to the end of this particular pastime today, but when he gets so angry that his devotee has been attacked by some demon, he becomes overwhelmed with anger and just like wild with anger, completely wild. And therefore, when everything is finished and Hiranyakashipu is dead, But before Prahlad has approached Nrsimhadeva, at that time, the demigods, even Lakshmi, the wife, and the other demigods, Brahma, Shiva, all of them, they wouldn't approach Nishingadeva. They felt it was too dangerous because his anger was just so wild, and you could use the term bizarre, that they felt it was too dangerous to approach Nrsimhadeva. So this is Nishingadeva, the Lord, particularly manifesting his anger. Yeah. So anyway, let's carry on. Let's carry on. So there's Hiranyakashipu now. He's seeing Nishingadeva, and he can't figure out, what is this? What is going on here? It's totally beyond him. But, we have to hand it to Hiranyakashipu. He is so proud, plus he's so powerful, Hiranyakashipu, that he feels that, even though this is the most incredible looking being I've ever seen in my life, and he looks immensely powerful, but he can't fight with me. I'm too powerful for him, so I'm just going to kill him. This is how Hiranyakashipu thought. So Hiranyakashipu, he just got himself together, took up his club, and went running towards Lord Nishingadeva. Bhagavatam says, Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord like an elephant. Yeah. Well, actually, like an elephant attacking a lion. In the purport, Prabhupada talks about an elephant attacking a lion. So just as a small insect falls forcefully into a fire and the insignificant creature becomes invisible, when Hiranyakashipu attacked the Lord, who was full of effulgence, Hiranyakashipu became invisible. Yeah. And thereafter, the great demon Hiranyakashipu, who was extremely angry, swiftly attacked Nrsimhadeva with his club and began to beat him. Lord Nrsimhadeva, however, captured the great demon along with his club, just as Garuda might capture a great snake. So then, then Lord Nishingadeva started playing a little bit of a game, little bit. Nishingadeva he's now holding, Nishingadeva is holding Hiranyakashipu, but then he let him go. He just let him go, playing with him as Garuda sometimes plays with a snake. So when Nishingadeva did that, the demigods, they became anxious. So now Hiranyakashipu is thinking that, I am defeating him. He can't hold me. I'm too strong for him. He's got this type of crazy demoniac bravery and enthusiasm. So then after taking a little break, Hiranyakashipu took up his sword and shield and again attacked the Lord. Wow. Making a loud, shrill sound of laughter. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Narayan, who's extremely strong and powerful, captured Hiranyakashipu, who was protecting himself with his sword and shield, leaving no gaps open. With the speed of a hawk, Hiranyakashipu moved sometimes in the sky and sometimes on the earth. His eyes closed because of fear of Nishingadeva's laughter. Wow. Oh, wow. Listen to this, everyone. Fasten your seatbelts. Here we go. This is it. As a snake captures a mouse, or Garuda captures a very venomous snake, Lord Nrsimhadeva captured Hiranyakashipu, who could not be pierced even by the thunderbolt of King Indra. As Hiranyakashipu moved his limbs here, there, and all around, very much afflicted at being captured, Lord Nrsimhadeva placed the demon on his lap, supporting him with his thighs. And in the doorway of the assembly hall, the Lord very easily tore the demon to pieces with the nails of his hand. Wow. So that's it. That good night. Good night, Hiranyakashipu. That's it. Wow. Lord Nrsimhadeva's mouth and mane were sprinkled with drops of blood, and his fierce eyes full of anger were impossible to look at. Licking the edge of his mouth with his tongue, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nishingadeva, decorated with a garland of intestines taken from Hiranyakashipu's abdomen, resembled a lion that has just killed an elephant. Wow. So there you go, devotees. That's the sort of the essence of the whole pastime, in one sense, like the central point. Lord Nrsimhadeva kills Hiranyakashipu and tears his sort of stomach or his body, his abdomen open, pulls out the intestines and garlands himself with the intestines. Hare Krishna. Anyone like a Maha garland? So anyway, that's the end of Hiranyakashipu. And therefore, you know, Tuesday is the main day, at least here in South Africa. I assume it is in Atlanta also, although I don't actually know. Yeah. So Tuesday then is the appearance day of Nishingadeva. And sometimes we say it is the disappearance day of Hiranyakashipu. Yeah. And there's just one other thing I'd like to mention, if that's okay. Is that okay? Just for a few minutes. I just want to read a verse, one verse. It's from the 5th canto. It's the 5th canto, the 18th chapter, And it's verse 8. This is Prahlad Maharaj speaking. It's Prahlad Maharaj, 5th canto, chapter 18, verse 8. I'll read the verse, the Sanskrit and the translation. Om Namo Bhagavate Nrsimhadeva, Namaste Tejase Avir Bhava, Vajranaka Vajradamstra, Karamashaya Randaya Tamagrasa Grasa Om Swaha, Abhayam Atmani, Bhuyishta Om Shrom. It's a Nrsimhadeva Mula Mantra. And the translation is, I offer my respectful obeisances unto Lord Nishingadeva, the source of all power. O my Lord, who possess nails and teeth just like thunderbolts, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruit of activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance, so that by your mercy, we may become fearless in the struggle for existence in this material world. So this is Prahlad. It's Prahlad speaking, offering his obeisances to Lord Nishingadeva and praying for protection. Praying for protection. Just an interesting point to note in this regard. And I strongly suggest you think about it very carefully and like that. Is that Prahlad? This is the only verse in which Prahlad prays for protection. There's no other verse to my knowledge, and I've actually studied it all very carefully. There's no other verse in which Prahlad prays, please protect me, save me, help me. There are many prayers by Prahlad, but they're basically glorifications of Nishingadeva. There's a couple which are glorifications of Narada Muni, who's his spiritual master. But this, to my knowledge, this is the only verse spoken by Prahlad in which he prays, please protect me. And it's interesting to note, what is he praying for protection from? He says, kindly vanquish our demon-like desires for fruit of activity in this material world. Please appear in our hearts and drive away our ignorance so we can become fearless. So in other words, this is it's very relevant, very important point that, Prahlad, he is the classic example from the Bhagavatam of someone whose life was saved by the Lord, someone who was physically protected by the Lord against just very terrible danger. Yeah, but Prahlad, he doesn't feel he needs protection from anything except his material desires and except for his ignorance. Of course, he doesn't really have material desires or ignorance, but he's taking the position of the conditioned soul and praying to please protect us from material desire. protect us from ignorance. Because these are the things we need to be protected from. You know, physical danger, yeah, okay. Physical danger, we should pray to Nishingadeva. That's also true. But the thing is, we are all going to die sooner or later, whether we like it or not. That's just totally unavoidable. In the meantime, the Lord may save us. There may be some dangerous situations sometime. The Lord may save us physically. But eventually, these bodies will die. And that's all there is to it. But so death is not exactly a danger that we need to be saved from in this sense, because we cannot be saved from death ultimately. But what we do need to be saved from, we need to be saved from material desire. We need to be saved from ignorance, because these things, at the time of death, these things can destroy us, and then we may have to take birth again, and who knows what's going to happen if we have to take birth again. Anyway, that's just a thought, something to consider. So, Prabhu, Hamara program kya hai?
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Once again, thank you so much for the amazing class. Your narrations just make the pastime even more sweeter. How many ever times we hear it, we never get tired, but your narration was just out of this world. So, Maharaj, would you have a few minutes for a couple of questions, maybe?
Sure, why not?
Yeah. So, devotees, if you have any questions, you can either type them in the chat or you can raise your hands and you can unmute yourself and ask your question. Let's just give it a second. So, Maharaj, I have one question on, someone's asked me the question anonymously. The question
Okay.
is, it's well known that after Hiranyakashipu was killed by Lord Nrsimhadeva, Prahlad Maharaj offered prayers and pacified the Lord. But what happened after that, and how did Lord Nrsimhadeva disappear? Yeah.
Okay, well, I mean, part of it's described that Prahlad offered prayers, and Lord Nishingadeva asked him to rule. Lord Nishingadeva asked him to rule, and then Lord Nishingadeva left. And when Lord Nishingadeva left, then according to Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, when Lord Nishingadeva left, he visited Navadvip. This is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur says very clearly. Lord Nishingadeva visited Navadvip, Godrum Dweep, which means sort of like southern, kind of southern part of the Navadvip area, or even southeastern part. And he went to what is called Devapali. We call it generally Nrsingapali, but generally the people know it as Devapali. And there was a lake, and not just a lake, but a river, with a lake in the river, sort of thing. And there, Lord Nishingadeva washed his hands, his claws. He washed off the blood of Hiranyakashipu. And so that blood went into the waters of that lake. And because that blood had been on the claws of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it became completely pure. So now, when we go to Nishingapali, Devapali, on the Navadvip Mandal Parikrama, and we take bath in that lake, nice lake, we're contacting the blood of Hiranyakashipu, but it's pure, it's purified. And so we get great spiritual benefit from that. And the Lord spent some time there, and because the Lord was there, many of the demigods came to visit, and they established a settlement there, and therefore it's called Devapali. It means sort of like the village of the gods. And then Lord Nrsimhadeva went back to his Vaikuntha planet.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you so much. Then another question is, when the Lord appears, it is said that through his pastimes there are many lessons to be learned for us. For this pastime, the obvious lesson is how not to be a parent. Besides this, are there any lessons to take with us from this glorious pastime?
Well, yeah, like when Prabhupada was first in America, the first time he got really quite sick. He had some like a minor stroke or minor heart attack. It was quite minor, but still, these things are very serious, even if they're relatively small. So Prabhupada was hospitalized. It's described in the Leelamrita. And the devotees were visiting Prabhupada in the hospital. And the devotees asked, is there any special prayer? Is there anything we can do to really approach the Lord, appeal to the Lord for mercy, to help you, to save you? And Prabhupada then taught the devotees the Nishingadeva prayers, which we sing at the end of artis. Namaste, Nrsimhadeva, etc. So Prabhupada instructed there that when we're in danger, any sort, he was in health danger. But if there's physical danger, if there's some attack or some danger, then the particular form, of course, you can always just chant Hare Krishna. It's never wrong to chant Hare Krishna. But actually the best thing, and it's like Krishna's arrangement, is to approach, when there's danger, to approach Krishna in the form of Lord Nrsimhadeva for protection. So that's sort of like a pretty obvious answer, but it's just a very important lesson. Then the other lesson I just mentioned by reading the verse from the 5th canto, 5.18.8, that the greatest danger is the danger of material desire, material consciousness. Because, death is a great danger in that sense. But death is inevitable anyway. But what consciousness we're in, that's not inevitable. We have to make the effort to be in proper Krishna consciousness. And so in order to be protected from material desire and protected from ignorance, we can also pray to Lord Nrsimhadeva. And in fact, we can actually recite this specific prayer. Prabhupada, at the end of the purport of this verse, 5th canto, chapter 18, verse 8, the very last sentence, Prabhupada says, any devotee aspiring to be free of material desires should offer his respectful prayers to Nishingadeva as Prahlad Maharaj did in this verse. So that's another very important lesson. It's a sort of a subtlety in regards to being protected. And I would say those are the main lessons.
Yes, Maharaj. Yeah, I mean, it was very eye-opening to hear about how we should apply these lessons and, slowly get rid of all material desires. Maharaj, there's a couple of questions in the chat. I just wanted to make sure how much time you had before I asked.
I mean, if there's just, well, we can spend another 10 minutes if it takes up to the hour.
Yeah. Okay, Maharaj. So in that case, the next question we have is from Troy Wainwright, which is on the chat as well. If our bodies are destined to perish on this planet, why did Lord Nrsimhadev come to this planet to save Prahlad? Or did he come to simply show his devotee and Hiranyakashipu he is true to his word and to his devotees? Is it out of pure love? And he also has an apology. I apologize if my questions seem too simple or unacceptable. I'm just trying to soak up the sweet nectar of our sweet Lord.
Anyway, the thing is, an interesting point in regard to this, what Troy says, that, if our bodies are destined to perish, then why bother trying to save Prahlad? An interesting point is, in the beginning of the 10th canto, I mean, not right at the beginning, but in the first one or couple of chapters or thereabouts, where Kamsa is, he's just about to kill Devaki, and Vasudeva is sort of negotiating with him, kind of thing. One point which comes up is that when your body is in danger of being killed or dying, just dying in whatever way, it is an offense to not try to save your body. It's actually an offense. If you just sort of whimsically let your body die when you could save your body, then that's an offense. So, we're meant to look after these bodies. We're meant to use these bodies in Krishna's service and not treat them just, what would you say? Well, whimsically. Certainly we're not meant to allow our bodies to be abused. Our bodies have to be looked after so that they can be used in the service of the Lord. So therefore, for a devotee, be it Prahlad or be it you or me or be it any devotee, if some prospect, some danger of death comes, and Prabhupada showed the example himself we just mentioned a couple of minutes ago, then we should actually take shelter of Lord Nrsimhadeva and ask for his mercy to save our lives so that we can carry on with our Krishna consciousness. We should, it's like a devotional principle to try to look after your body. Of course, if you can't, if it's just, if it's the end, an atomic bomb just fell on your head, or, old age has just reached that point and no more can be done, then, that's that. But otherwise, under normal circumstances, it's a devotional principle to maintain the body properly, to be used in Krishna's service. And, an interesting little point in that regard is in the 10th canto of the Bhagavatam, in the story of, it's the story of the first forest fire. After Krishna subdued the Kalia serpent, the Brijbasis stayed overnight at a place, they didn't go home that night. There's a place that's called Davanala Kund, and they went there and they spent the night by that kund. And the first forest fire came to try to kill them. So the Brijbasis, they pray to Krishna, save us, don't let us die, Krishna, please save our lives. And one of our acharyas, at least one of our acharyas, gives a purport there that the Brijbasis were thinking, the Brijbasis, they're the topmost devotees of all. But they were thinking that we are not advanced devotees. We are not ready to die. So Krishna, please save our lives, because if we die now, who knows where we're going to go? Now we've got your association. If we die now, we may lose your association. So please don't let us die now, because we are not ready to die. We're not sort of fixed up in consciousness. So anyway, to save one's life or another devotee's life is a devotional principle. It's not just sort of materialistic. And in the case of Nrsimhadeva, he came to show his love. He came to show that he wanted to protect, by saving the life. It's not just, you can't really separate saving Prahlad's life from loving Prahlad. Yeah, they're synonymous. He showed his love for Prahlad by saving his life. Yeah. Anyway, I think that's what I could say about that at this point. Okay, Troy, I'm glad you like it. Haribol. And I see Vivek has a, comment or question? In the Vishnu Sahasranam, the 16th verse, there's mention of Lord Nishingadeva. Yoga vidam neta pradana purusheshvara Nrsimhadeva vapu Shriman Keshava Parushottama. Can we give insight to this reference? I mean, what sort of insight? What's it saying really? My Sanskrit's not that good. He's the supreme person, Keshava, the supreme controller in the form of Nishingadeva, Nrsimhadeva vapu. I don't know if someone can translate that a little more sort of in depth.
Vivek, maybe you can unmute yourself and ask particularly what you wanted to ask, probably.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
So it is said in the translation, it just says that Lord Nrsimha is being handsome. So, and why would just Nrsimha be come across Vishnu Sahasranam was my initial question, but due to time constraints, I just thought, why not just give it? Why could you not just give the reference to it as to what it means or why is such?
You have the translation there, though?
I can get it up right now.
Tell us what it is.
Yeah, just a second, Maharaj.
I've got Vishnu Sahasranam here somewhere, but it would take a couple of minutes to find it. Yoga Vidam Neta. Well, he's of the nature of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Nishinga, in the form of Nishinga, and he's the Supreme Person, Keshava. But the Yoga Vidam Neta, I'm not quite sure what that means. And Hare Krishna, Flavior.
I think he's pulling it up. Just
Mm-hmm.
I think we're almost at time as well. Don't want to keep you too long.
Maharaj, it's okay actually. It's been tough to find actually, so it's okay.
Okay.
Sorry, Maharaj.
Next time. All right.
Yes, Maharaj. So thank you once again very much for this enlightening session on the appearance of Nrsimhadeva. As you said, the Nrsimhadeva's appearance is also on Tuesday in Atlanta. And it's one of the bigger festivals in the Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition and most Vaishnava traditions in general. So we're very thankful that you took the time out to speak to us today. I know it's a little bit on the later side on that part of the world, but thank you once again, Maharaj. And we look forward to having you again. I want to thank Kartik Kripa Prabhu for getting in touch with you and having you speak to us. So thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna. And
Hare Krishna, and thank you, Kartik Kripa Prabhu.
We look forward to even having you in person. As you said, it's been a few years since you've been here. But
a few years.
But maybe once things open up, we can definitely have you.
You never know. It's
yes,
possible, not impossible.
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Shri Nishingadeva Bhagavan ki jai. Haribol.
Thank you, Maharaj. Anant Koti Dandavat Pranam. Srila Prabhupada Srila Gurudev ki jai. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So I'll just go over some of the announcements quickly. I know we are a little bit over time today. So, 1 second. So, as all of you know, that Nrsimha Chaturdasi is on Tuesday, the 25th. We're starting our program over here in Atlanta at 5 p.m. with a yajna, followed by Abhishekam, and we'll have Aarti, and we'll have the class by His Grace Amarendra Prabhu. For those who are interested in having prayers for their family members or themselves or their friends, please send in your names to Karthik or Naveen, and we'll have them announced or chanted before the yajna, and we'll have prayers for everyone. I'm sure this is a very difficult time, especially in India, so please feel free to reach out to us. You should find the information on the WhatsApp group as well. So I actually forgot to mention, today is actually Rukmini Dwadasi as well, which is a very special day. Lord Krishna came and protected Rukmini from Shishupala, so it's one of those things here. Nrsimhadeva is protecting Prahlad Maharaj, so we can draw the parallels there as well. 26th is Madhavendra Puri's appearance day, and also Srinivas Acharya's appearance day. May 30th is Ramananda Raya's disappearance day, and we'll be having a class based on his teachings and his interactions with Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. As all of you know, we have our ISKCON Atlanta media, website, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Please get on. We're posting all our videos and classes from the past. We also have Kirtan from the Kirtan Mela, which will be posted soon. So please stay tuned to all updates on our social media channels. Prayers, let's pray for the health of His Holiness Jayaptak Maharaj, the health of His Holiness Bhakti Bringa Govinda Maharaj. Jayadvait Maharaj has been a little sick recently. His Grace Nanda Sutta Prabhu, a long-time devotee of ISKCON Atlanta, Govardhan Leela Mataji, ISKCON Kolkata, and also the doctors who are fighting COVID and many others who are suffering because of this pandemic. So let's chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times before we go on to the Nrsimha prayers. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we have Haridas, Sachipranan Prabhu's son, who will be singing the Nrsimha prayers. Haridas, over to you.
Okay. Namaste, Narate Maya.
Namaste, Narate Maya.
Gaur Bhakti Vrinda ki
Jai.
Jai, Nitya Gaur Sitana Premanande
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna Haridas. Thank you very much for singing the Nrsimha Arti. Flavio Mataji, could you make me the host? I think I just, one of my devices just died. So this would be the SRD device. Could you just make me the host? If you go into the participants, you can just hold on to